I've got a feeling there'll probably be a little bit more information in there about the man that did the attack at the synagogue in Manchester. I'll bring that to you before anyone else. Thank you.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Storm Amy is crossing the UK as we speak, passing northern Scotland and bringing its strongest and most damaging wind gusts to much of Northern Ireland, northern and western Scotland through the night time and into much of Saturday. You can see how tightly packed the isobars are as Storm Amy makes its way across the north of Scotland. Spells of rain pushing through the whole of the UK. For many parts, 50 to 60 miles an hour wind gusts are expected overnight, along with a spell of heavy rain. But it's across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, North and West Wales, where gusts could exceed 70 miles an hour in exposed spots. And especially for the west and north of Scotland overnight, we're looking at wind gusts of 100 miles an hour for the Western Isles and 85 miles an hour for the northeast of Scotland during Saturday as Amy pulls away. That accompanied by heavy rainfall continuing to stream into much of Scotland, with large accumulations expected across the Northwest Highlands in particular. Northern Ireland seeing a wet and windy start, Northern England as well. And for much of the south, we're going to see showers interspersed by brighter spells, but very blustery out there, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So it's a windy day on Saturday for the whole of the UK, but by this stage, the strongest winds and the biggest impacts are expected across the Northern Isles into parts of Caithness, parts of Aberdeenshire as well. That's where wind gusts could reach 70 to 85 miles an hour. The strong wind from the northwest will feel cold out there, temperatures dipping compared with the last few days, and there'll be frequent showers feeding in. Similar on Sunday, but we're starting to see it calm down at this stage. Amy pulls away, still a strong breeze from the northwest, still feeling on the cold side, still some showery rain around, but nowhere near as unsettled as the next 24 hours. And then into next week, we've got a westerly breeze, but it's not looking quite as stormy.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys tonight, late edition. Lots of breaking stuff flying around.
To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it.
Look, we've got some huge news coming out of the Middle East, but also relates to us here in Britain, of course. President Trump has said that Israel must stop bombing Gaza immediately, but that comes after Hamas agreed to release all, yes, all its remaining hostages, dead or alive. Lots happening there, plus... The Syrian terrorist that killed 2 people at the Manchester Synagogue was freed on bail over an alleged rape. There's also noises as well that he might have had a criminal record prior to that. You know, let's just have a think about this as well. Released on bail for an alleged rape. Some of the other people who were denied bail for things like tweets, and then this kind of stuff has happened. Also...
In introducing our Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, and before I do, please...
Crowd shout shame on you at Deputy PM David Lammy. The Daily Mail have gone for Lammy told you have blood on your hands. He was trying to speak at a vigil, the Manchester Synagogue. For me, one of the big parts about that, by the way, was that David Lammy turned up and he obviously couldn't speak from the heart. It was a pre-prepared speech on a sheet of paper that he had to keep reading over. Pathetic. And...
When it comes to the ECHR, I have always been very clear that the ECHR should not stop us from doing what is right for the people of this country and what is right in our national interest.
Yes, well, like I said, there's a lot of breaking news tonight. This has just landed. Kemi Badenoch has confirmed that the Conservatives will leave the ECHR. There is a catch, of course. That's if she wins the next general election. Big if. Also... So, on the front of the Times on Saturday morning, you will see PM's warning on protests. So, Sir Keir Starmer has said that the protests are, quote, stoking anti-Semitic tropes. More protests will happen tomorrow. Why can't they just be stopped? Joining me this evening, we've got broadcasting royalty Christo Foufas, the former Conservative MP Jane Stevenson, and Labour MP Barry Gardner. Oh, and what is our future king doing here?
Eugene, good morning. Your Royal Highness.
Well, there we go. First, though, let's get those headlines with Sophia.
Patrick, thank you. Very good evening. It's just gone 11 o'clock. These are your top stories. Well, breaking earlier this evening, Hamas has said that it agrees to release all Israeli hostages, alive or dead, under President Trump's Gaza proposals. The group has confirmed readiness to immediately engage in negotiations through mediators and reiterated its agreement to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independent technocrats. In response to this news, President Donald Trump has said that Israel must stop bombing Gaza immediately and that he believes Hamas is ready for peace after their statement. Back in the UK, Greater Manchester Police have confirmed that the terrorist Jihad al-Shami was on police bail for an alleged rape when he carried out the Manchester Synagogue attack. They said, however, that he did not appear to be known to counter-terrorism policing. Meanwhile, earlier, crowds heckled the Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy during a vigil in Crumsall.
Palestine! Shame on you! Shame on you! Go to Palestine! Leave us alone!
The family of one of the victims, Adrian Dalby, have described him as a hero who tragically lost his life in an act of courage to save others. The attacker responsible for the killings was a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent, and he was shot dead 7 minutes after the police were called to the scene. He came to the UK as a young child and was granted British citizenship in 2006 as a minor. Now, yesterday's events did not stop pro-Palestine protests going ahead across the nation last night, as the Met Police are now calling for such rallies to be cancelled. And the Conservative Party says that it will take Britain out of the European Convention on Human Rights if they win the next election. Party leader Kemi Badenoch confirmed the pledge ahead of the party's conference in Manchester. A nearly 200-page review, led by former Attorney General Lord Wolfson, concluded the treaty has blocked government plans on immigration, climate change and even housing policy. The Tories say that leaving the ECHR would stop lawfare and allow ministers to put British citizens first. Also breaking this evening, Sean Diddy Coombs has been sentenced to more than 4 years in prison on prostitution-related charges. The 55-year-old rapper was convicted on 2 counts of arranging for paid male escorts to travel across state lines to take part in drug-fuelled sexual performances, what he's called freak-offs, which would also include his girlfriend. The jury acquitted him on the more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, which could have earned him a life sentence. Coombs pleaded not guilty and is expected to appeal his conviction. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. Now it's back to Patrick.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
All right, welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Let's have a look at all of Saturday's front pages. The Telegraph, they have got Chinese spy trial sabotaged by Labour. Ministerial decision not to recognise Xi regime as an enemy was key to the collapse. The picture story, though, is mourners venting their anger at David Lammy. And if we go to the Daily Mail, frankly, they've gone the whole hog. Lammy told, "You have blood on your hands." They've also got the exclusive from Kemi Badenoch, "I will free Britain from the human rights straitjacket." It's the breaking news of Kemi saying that she'll leave the ECHR if she wins. Let's go to the Independent. Synagogue killer was freed on bail over alleged rape. So he was known to police in Manchester. And, yeah, I mean, it is what it says in the tin, really. I mean, it's just about the only way it could have got worse. The Mirror, hero rabbi, "I looked evil in the face. We can't let evil win." He hails the community as victims are named. There is also, of course, that detail, which is that the police shots, the shots they fired, hit one of the dead and one of the injured there. So that's the detail that came out today. We've got the Times. PM's warning on protests. So Starmer tells Palestine activists to respect the grief of Jews. I've got actually, unless I've missed this before, and I am very sorry if I have. Am I right in saying the Times have got the details of the 2 deceased here?
The pitch, yes. Adrian Dalby and Melvin Kravitz died protecting worshippers. Dalby, on the left of the picture, was struck by a stray bullet fired by police as he barricaded the synagogue door.
Right, so we're getting more detail about this now. We'll return to that. Someone could read a bit more of that whilst I do the other papers, and you can fill us all in. The Sun, terrorist on bail for rape. Synagogue terrorist Jihad al-Shami was on bail for rape. And then we go for the Guardian. Synagogue terrorist again was on bail for the alleged rape. So that's the line that 3 national newspapers are going for. They also carry the pictures of the 2 men who sadly lost their lives yesterday. And we'll get you a bit more detail about them now, actually. But the Daily Express, just to round us off, Daily Express, anti-Semitism crackdown failure shames Britain. Senior Tory Robert Jenrick blasts pathetically weak and cowardly elite class for failing to protect Jewish people and declares, "We can root out this cancer if our leaders actually care." Now, the picture on that, by the way, as well, is at the Vigil in Manchester. There's a sign there that says, "No more words, we demand action." And that is the local Jewish community who were at that vigil. Right, so those are all your front pages. That's them done. Can we just zone in on? Look, I think the one that's leading the most of the papers is the fact that this guy was on bail for rape.
Yeah.
A synagogue killer was held over sex attack. I mean, the Sun have gone big on it. Synagogue terrorist Jihad al-Shami was on bail for an alleged rape when he carried out his rampage. So he was known to police. It's just like a kind of added kick, really. This, isn't it? It does pose serious questions again, though, about why are we releasing some people on bail, but then you have the likes. I don't like you to keep continually bringing this up, but like Lucy Connolly was detained. She wasn't given bail for a tweet, but you've got a guy who's wanted for rape here, who's bailed and then goes out and commits this kind of attack. Really, it's an added layer to the idea that this shouldn't have happened.
And it's. I remember a few weeks ago, Lucy Connolly said she was a political prisoner. I don't believe she was a political prisoner. She was a prisoner of politics, and I think it's a real demonstration of how some people end up not getting bail because of political decisions, whereas some clearly do, who pose arguably more of a threat. And this is one of those examples.
But I think the number of rape allegations, I don't think we have enough prison places to do that. But I just want to, on the front of the Times, I think the disturbing quote, an eyewitness said, the attacker was screaming, "This is what they get for killing our children."
Right.
Which is saying British Jewish people are responsible for something that is nothing to do with it. They're not his children. I mean, that whole quote sums up how just twisted this whole argument has become. It's awful.
Right, actually, no, that is an important detail. So this is in the Times, yeah. So a witness claimed that Shami yelled, "This is what they get for killing our children," as he tried to get into the synagogue. So, I mean, that's the additional detail there, Barry.
Absolutely ghastly. And, this idea that, Jews in Britain do not look at what is going on in Gaza and see those images of children dying and think that that is horrendous as well is entirely wrong. So many Jewish people are appalled by the suffering of those people in Gaza. Of course, they're desperate for the hostages to be released. And if the breaking news is right, that Hamas are now saying they will release those hostages, thank God. But this way in which people are vilifying each other and holding them responsible for something that has got nothing to do with those people in Manchester.
And it's so demonstrative, actually, of the wider issue I think we've got with debate at the moment in general. This sort of zero-sum, all or nothing. You can't possibly be Jewish and want the hostages released and also have sympathy for what's happening in Gaza. It's got to be one or the other, and this ridiculousness has got to stop. There is nuance. There is nuance,
but sadly we have seen the demonisation of Jews to the point that it has all become one thing, which is anti-Semitism. And that quote, it's chilling. It really is chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to a mate of mine yesterday who had his bar mitzvah at that synagogue, and he made the point. He said, look, so, for example, when October the 7th happened, it wasn't as though everyone in the Jewish community in Manchester was going around, like, just blaming, like, random Egyptians or whatever, because they were able to distinguish between, like, Hamas and, like, people from other Muslim nations and from
and it's Islamism versus people who are of the Islamic faith. And sorry, go on.
Sorry, but what he said was that he feels as though just all Jews are kind of being blamed for what the Israeli Defence Forces are doing.
Exactly.
And
that's what's so twisted about it. But can I point out that actually I'm horrified by the Lammy told you have blood on your hands.
Let's bring the mail up.
Yeah, because let's pin responsibility where it really lies. It lies with that evil, sick terrorist who went in there and committed those murders. It's
No, but there is responsibility on the state. Now, it might not be Lammy specifically, but people are angry. It's like I said in the last show about the state knowing about people who are wrong-uns, for want of a better word, and not fulfilling its fundamental role in protecting us.
Yeah. But actually, what that was about, and you know, Krista, that what somebody who says you've got blood on your hands was saying, and it's been a repeated theme, is that because he supported the recognition of Palestine, that in some way that has allowed that
I have heard a lot of Jewish people say that, though.
They may say it, but it's wrong. It's equally wrong.
With no condition to get rid of Hamas. They've recognised a state. They have rewarded Hamas. Hamas went on air celebrating this, saying we have had a victory.
Is there an argument to say that it has legitimised people who have that horrific intent of this attacker to say, you know what, if the British state are going to legitimise Palestine being created as a state with no conditions whatsoever, does that mean I now have carte blanche to go and act in the way I want? And that would be the argument that these Jewish people have.
But let's be clear. Historically, you can go back to the two states that are supposed to be there, according to the 1967 borders, Israel and Palestine. The United Nations has recognised the state of Palestine. And let's be clear, Hamas only controlled Gaza. Fatah controlled the rest of Palestine.
Right. I just feel... I know we've got some clips in the system, which is of David Lammy being heckled at this Vigil today. I just... The sense I get when I talk to people, whether, frankly, actually Jews and non-Jews, really, is that Labour can kind of say what they like. We all know how they really feel about the pro-Palestine protests. So either they're MPs who've been on them or clearly would like to be on them but have maybe been told to stay away. Loads of them have lined up behind Jeremy Corbyn in the past. A lot of them have expressed support for Zara Sultana in the past and some of her views. And I just feel as though maybe when we do see, some of the reaction like we saw from the Jewish community in Manchester there's a sense that for quite a long time in Britain, the Labour Party just has not been on the side of Jews, Christo.
And I think that it goes back to what we were talking about a moment ago, that everyone bends over backwards to say that, to make the distinction, if we have if we have a terror attack that is perpetrated by someone who is an Islamist, it is not all of Islam. And we make that point, and actually it's fair we make that point. But when it comes to, I think, the Jewish community, there isn't, I don't think, that swiftness and the distinction made enough by, I think, people in authority that, look, it is a separation between the Israeli state and Jewish people, and that's why they feel safe.
One thing I will say as well on this is that, and this has just come from a lot of people that I've spoken to, which is that a lot of Jews feel as though they were on the brink of being exterminated not that long ago, and this was a place of safety, one of several places of safety for them to come. And then what they feel as though has happened, I'm not speaking for all Jews here, by the way, I'm just saying that some of the ones I've spoken to, they feel as though that we have then decided through various immigration policies to allow in a cohort of people from nations where anti-Semitism is not only just rife, it's actually encouraged. And they're like, why are you letting these people into the country? Yeah. And I think they feel very let down about that.
Yes, and it is absolutely horrible to hear British Jewish people say they're moving, saying they are leaving Britain. They don't feel safe, and they haven't felt safe for some time. We have to get a grip, and good for Robert Jenrick on the front page of whatever newspaper he's at, the Express.
Let's just remind ourselves of that clip, then we'll go to Barry on this, but the clip of David Lammy today standing up. Oh.
So therefore, I have great pleasure in introducing our Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy. And before I do, please, we know how we all feel. We know how we all feel.
Go to Palestine! Shame on you! Shame on you! Go to Palestine! Leave us alone!
Barry, can I just knock this on slightly and ask you this? Should Keir Starmer have gone there himself and taken that? I couldn't help but notice when he did turn up, it was him with his wife, who is Jewish, and there were no public around, so I don't know why that was exactly, but there was no opportunity for him to be heckled. Look, should he have stood there and taken it on the chin today instead of sending David Lammy, do you think?
I think that it's the job of a leader to lead. And the most important place that he could have been today was at that vigil, meeting people, reassuring people, sharing their grief. And I have no doubt, you know, and let's be absolutely clear, Keir Starmer has been recognised by British jury as having turned around the anti-Semitism that was in the Labour Party, and he has been a staunch supporter of Israel in ways that I would criticise, because he has not put in place a full sanction on politicians in Israel. I disagree with many of the things that the Israeli government has done, and I think our government has been too complicit with it. So the Prime Minister has been a staunch supporter of Israel. But the point is this: we have to distinguish the politics of Israel from the Jewish community and anti-Semitism.
Yeah. I just wonder whether or not he should have.
And also, I think that perhaps it was a little distasteful to send David Lammy in the week that David Lammy accused Nigel Farage of being a member of Hitler Youth, which of course he wronged back on, which was ridiculous. But perhaps, you know, not the best person to send when that name was being bandied around so easily.
I also just think to stand there and read out a speech from a sheet of paper, and you could tell he absolutely couldn't deviate from it, because at one point he lost where he was and had to try and flap around with this piece of paper and find it again, and stand there and say, I'm just going to say it, it's just guff.
I think it was
It's like, those who seek to divide us can't win. It's just dust off the statement that you made the last time there was an atrocity. Say that again. There was no.
It was the same thing. It was horrible, because you could hear the pain in the shouts. You could hear how upset the people at the Vigil were, and at some point he should have just thought, I need to respond to what's happening here. I need to say, I can feel your pain.
Would it have helped if he or others had called it an Islamist attack, do you think?
Quite possibly.
Would that have perhaps reassured people that it was being called what it is?
I don't think any member of government could have won. They were interviewing people at the Vigil. Half of them said, why isn't Keir Starmer here? Another half were saying, we don't want Keir Starmer here, we don't want David Lammy here. I think there was no way to manage it.
Just got the front up.
But I think he should have been more personal.
I just think
certainly
that the nature of a vigil is prayer and remembrance and grief. It's not the point at which you try and make political demands or statements.
If you believe the government has been complicit in this,
you know, the way in which you actually address that is not by standing separate in a covered marquee whilst the rest of the vigil is behind a barrier. The way of addressing that is to go out. It's to meet people. It's to hug people. It's to show that you care.
You're right,
and that's the difficulty.
It almost created a situation where it became a little bit like a political thing, didn't it? Which encouraged...
It was. They had Andy Burnham speaking, they had the Mayor of Manchester.
Sorry, but say, you know, look, I get, you know, speak from the heart. I get your anger. I get why you're angry with me and angry with the state, and you know, this is...
And when somebody shouted, if you're a politician, you're used to being heckled, right? And what you do is you say exactly that. You say, look, Madam, I can feel how angry you are, and I know how deeply the community is grieving over this. But let's use this space that we have here to commemorate those who've been lost, to respect their bravery and their courage, the ones who've been killed and the ones who are still in hospital. And
we get it.
Exactly.
We get it.
And that's what you do.
You know what I do hope? I kind of hope that David Lammy gets it. Because I think Keir Starmer's been heckled at Southport, heckled at the races, gets called a W word at the football. You know, I don't think would have got dissimilar treatment there. You know, and at some point, I do wonder whether or not they're going to smash out of some of their North London bubble and think, actually, are we the bad guys? You know, but anyway.
Excuse me, I come from North London.
Well, you come from a lot further north than that originally, to be fair.
No, you were Scottish earlier, remember?
No, I live in North London.
Just before we... I know we're a bit over here, but I just want want to say, it's on the front of the Times, just want to pay special attention to this because they've named a couple of the victims here. And we've got Adrian Dorby, 53. One of the victims was struck by a bullet fired by firearms officers. A survivor was also here. And another victim has been named as Melvin Kravitz, who's 66, was acting as a security guard and bravely prevented the attacker gaining access to the premises. So I just wanted to name check them and just give a little bit of information about them and say,
respect to them.
Say God bless to them and their families as well. OK, look, coming up, the big news, big breaking news. It's all about Hamas. They've agreed to give the hostages back. There are a couple of conditions. We'll do that when we come back. Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, cast your mind back 20 years to bin man turned X Factor star Andy Abraham. He is back and he's got a new single called Everything That You Do. Let's have a listen.
We're still in love and it feels so amazing. You make me feel there's nothing that I...
Well, Andy joins us now. It's great to see you. It's a fantastic tune. Why all this and why now?
Do you know, 20 years is a good time to team up with a fantastic producer. And so we come up with this tune and it's, everybody seems to be liking it. So that's the main thing. But 20 years since X Factor and all that craziness that I went through. So I figured, why not go back into it?
Where has that time gone? So what have you been getting up to in the intervening period?
Oh God, I've been getting up to all sorts, to be honest, but I've still looked the same, obviously. Still bald. I'm just loving life, you know, just enjoying my time with my family. I've been touring, releasing albums. So yeah, I'm looking to release another album. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see where it goes. The industry has changed so much, you know. There isn't really a focal point anymore like a Top of the Pops. There just seems to be so many different types of social media outlets, and it feels like there's a lot more work to be done. You know what I mean? But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it either way. I just love writing songs and teaming up with fantastic producers like Benjamin, and hopefully it does really, really well.
Well, I hope it does, because it's a really good tune.
Good luck,
Andy,
Andy.
it's great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So look, the big breaking news of the day, of the evening, is that Hamas has said that it agrees to release all Israeli hostages, both alive and dead, under President Trump's Gaza proposals. In fact, that's not the only thing that they appear to have agreed to. In fact, I think they have agreed to leaving Gaza as well, from what we can gather. But President Trump has released the following statement saying, based on a statement issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel now must immediately stop bombing Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. So, look, here we go. Here's some detail for you on what Hamas have said that they are willing to agree to. They agreed to immediately engage in negotiations through mediators and reiterated its agreement to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independent technocrats. That is massive, really. Now, Qatari mediators have confirmed to Reuters that they've received this response. Hamas added that it appreciates the Arab, Islamic and international efforts, as well as those by President Trump. And a senior Hamas official told Al Jazeera that they will hand over the hostages, all of them. However, to do it within the 72-hour time frame set by President Trump is unrealistic. Just to say on this, and James rightly pointed this out, if we just bring up the front of the Independent, this just shows you, this gives you an indication of how quickly this story's moved. Because the front of the Independent, which has gone to print and will be hitting people's doormats tomorrow morning, Trump promises hell if Hamas don't accept Gaza peace plan by Sunday. That was the line about 6 hours ago. In the meantime, then, Hamas have come out and then Trump's reacted to it. So it just gives you a sense of the pace. Before we get the views of my panel here, we can go to America, to Washington, where Ben Leo is. He's going to be doing his show there tonight. But, Ben, I mean, this is huge, right? It's a huge day, it's a huge news, and actually it's huge for President Trump. It's huge for everyone, really.
Yeah, evening, Patrick and viewers. Yeah, it's a massive development, and it makes you think, it makes you wonder, what about the pro-Palestine Action March in London later on today, on Sunday? Surely now, with the hostages hopefully being released, dead or alive, and by the way, on that point, I just wonder how Hamas is going to treat any hostages who are still alive. I mean, what's to stop them from killing them? That's one concern. But secondly, with Israel being told by Trump to stop bombing Gaza, Hamas handing over control to the Palestinian Authority and the hostages being released, should this march in London tomorrow even go ahead anyway? Surely the situation, it looks like, is being resolved. Or is it, as we suspect all along, just an excuse to go Jew bashing? So who knows? I'd argue that you don't need to go marching tomorrow because we're on the precipice of this whole situation being sorted out once and for all. It's an interesting conversation to have, at least. Elsewhere on the show tonight, I have one big question really on my mind. I've literally just flown back from London. I saw my kids for a couple of days, came back into the UK, and I've come straight to the studio. And the one question on my mind tonight, Patrick and viewers and listeners, was how many times has our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, said or uttered the word Islamist or Islamic extremism since taking power in July last year? Of course, the MI5 watch list is chock-a-block with mostly Islamists, 40-odd thousand on there, and we've had decades and decades of Islamic terror attacks. I don't think, and I've scoured speeches, I've scoured newspapers, I've even taken to AI to try and find, I don't think Keir Starmer has said the word Islamist once since July last year. But he's trigger-happy in saying far right, isn't he? He was at the conference banging on about Tommy Robinson's march the other day, calling it far right and how it sows division. So in light of Manchester, we know now that it was an Islamist attack, according to counter-terror police. I just wonder when Keir Starmer will utter that one key word, Islamist. When is he going to call them out? Or maybe is he trying to keep them at a distance for reasons unknown?
Ben, yeah, really great point. Thank you, mate. And you'll be on for the 2 hours after me, won't you? And you'll be at the epicentre of it all as well, especially when it comes to potential revelations out of the White House this evening. We'll see how fast this Hamas deal has gone. You'll be right there for us to give us the very latest. So, Ben Leo, thank you very, very much. Right, let's bring you back to us in the studio here. Right, a series of points there. I mean, the fact that Hamas has appeared to have agreed to not just return the hostages, but also to leave Gaza is a big development.
Is it too good to be true? I mean, am I just being cynical? I mean, it sounds like absolutely... Like, I don't want to have my cynical hat on, but it just feels like a bit like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I agree with you on that. But, I mean, does it also mean, though, that really, like, what is the point of these protests tomorrow?
Oh, absolutely.
But the only dignified thing, if people want to gather tomorrow, is to encourage peace and to commemorate the people who died in the synagogue attack.
Chanting.
None of the Palestine Action stuff. You know, this is a shot at peace, and everybody wants to see an end to the war. Everybody, you know, even the lunatics waving illegal placards. This is a genuine chance, and I think it was Trump promising hell, standing with Netanyahu, in the White House saying he would back Netanyahu to do whatever if Hamas don't get to the table and do this.
Then also, in fairness as well to Trump, which I thought was really quite a classy move, now saying actually to Israel, right, now this looks like it's happening, stop bombing.
Right. This is a genuine
He's playing it quite well.
So go on, Barry, what are your views on
this? Yeah, look, let's hope this is going to see an end to the war. But an end to the war is not a lasting peace. You don't have peace unless you have justice. You don't get a long-term peaceful settlement unless you have justice. And what we know is that Israel, as an occupying force in the West Bank, must give back the territories that have been taken over in the West Bank. They are illegally occupied and they should not be there, the settlements in the West Bank. So there has to be a sustainable forward movement to two states, a secure Israel, and a sustainable Palestinian state.
But that's not going to happen in one fell swoop.
No,
so, the Abraham Accords was the nearest sort of progress.
Absolutely.
And it does need to progress.
And you can go back to just before the Second Intifada when it looked as if peace with the Oslo Accords was going to be brought about, but it didn't. And what we need here is we need there to be not just an end to the bombing and an influx of food and aid. We now need to make sure that there is progress towards that two-state solution.
Yeah.
Yes, well, one of the things, I know it's not necessarily a conversation for now, it's just a concern that I've got coming down the track, which is that if Hamas do leave Gaza, where do they go? Are we going to end up with a ridiculous situation like we've had in the past where you end up with a bloke who used to be a Hamas chief with a council flat over here somewhere? Are they going to just go? I mean, I appreciate that a lot of them are already in Qatar and places like that, but are they going to end up finding their way into Europe at some point? And then we've managed to just move the problem here. And we'll just say something that I've just seen here, and it's on the front page of The Sun. We might talk, well, I just want to mention it to you because it was news to me anyway. It's the front page of The Sun. Oasis starring cancer fight. Bonehead, one of the guitarists from Oasis, has pulled out of the remainder of the tour, sadly.
It's prostate cancer that he's been diagnosed with, so he's going to be missing Seoul, Tokyo, Melbourne and Sydney for treatment.
Gosh.
Yeah, 60 years old, but he says that he's hoping that he'll be back in time for the South American leg.
Well, that's the one that they don't want to miss. I know that they've been absolutely mad keen to do Buenos Aires, I think, isn't it? The one that they say it just absolutely goes off there. So, well, all the best for Bonehead. But coming up, back to those front pages, Kemi Badenoch has said tonight that she will leave the ECHR. Small caveat to that, she has to win the next election. Stay tuned.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews travel destinations forecast.
Looking ahead to tomorrow across southern parts of Europe, and there is a lot of fine weather around, but not everywhere. The same band of rain that's been sweeping through today across the UK in association with Storm Amy is going to fringe into northwestern parts of Spain and Portugal, bringing some wet weather here. Elsewhere, generally dry for most, but some heavy, showery bursts of rain likely across more eastern parts, particularly affecting Greece at times. Otherwise, it's looking largely fine into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews travel destinations forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Storm Amy is crossing the UK as we speak, passing northern Scotland and bringing its strongest and most damaging wind gusts to much of Northern Ireland, northern and western Scotland through the night time and into much of Saturday. You can see how tightly packed the isobars are as Storm Amy makes its way across the north of Scotland. Spells of rain pushing through the whole of the UK. For many parts, 50 to 60 miles an hour wind gusts are expected overnight, along with a spell of heavy rain. But it's across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, North and West Wales, where gusts could exceed 70 miles an hour in exposed spots. And especially for the west and north of Scotland overnight, we're looking at wind gusts of 100 miles an hour for the Western Isles and 85 miles an hour for the northeast of Scotland during Saturday as Amy pulls away. That accompanied by heavy rainfall continuing to stream into much of Scotland, with large accumulations expected across the Northwest Highlands in particular. Northern Ireland seeing a wet and windy start, Northern England as well. And for much of the south, we're going to see showers interspersed by brighter spells, but very blustery out there, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So it's a windy day on Saturday for the whole of the UK, but by this stage, the strongest winds and the biggest impacts are expected across the Northern Isles into parts of Caithness, parts of Aberdeenshire as well. That's where wind gusts could reach 70 to 85 miles an hour. The strong wind from the northwest will feel cold out there, temperatures dipping compared with the last few days, and there'll be frequent showers feeding in. Similar on Sunday, but we're starting to see it calm down at this stage. Amy pulls away, still a strong breeze from the northwest, still feeling on the cold side, still some showery rain around, but nowhere near as unsettled as the next 24 hours. And then into next week, we've got a westerly breeze, but it's not looking quite as stormy.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. So we're going to go to the front of the Daily Mail. Yes, we are. The front of the Daily Mail. And because underneath the big story, which is Lammy told you have blood on your hands, there's an exclusive with Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party. Kemi, I will free Britain from human rights straitjacket. Just to tell you what that is, really. She's saying that she's confirmed for the first time. She's confirmed that if the Tories win the next general election, she will leave the ECHR. That is now Conservative Party policy. Well, Jane?
Good. I mean, yeah, I think there were, when I was in the last Parliament, there were my little gang of campers when Rwanda was going through, when we wanted to really, sort our border security. We knew a big clique of us, and it will be my possible reservation about this is how the party at large will accept it. Because to people in my little corner, this is great news. It will, it will stop those human rights. We would have got the planes off to Rwanda. All of this sort of things, we would have had a much better job of it. To some people in the party, I think they will have an issue with it.
Do they not just need to get on board with it now? I mean, obviously, I would imagine that anyone who is still really in the Conservative Party, as Labour MPs, are looking at it, Tory MPs, and are pretty worried about the situation. And they must be thinking if they don't back this, like the Tories can't split again, for goodness sake, can they?
No, exactly. But I think Manchester, the conference is about to start. I'm pleased she's announced this before everybody gets to Manchester, because I think it is the time to have a really serious debate. And that's what I actually like about Kemi. She has got a really hard job. She is putting these big, big questions out there.
What will happen, though? Because, look, the people who wrote the Human Rights Act basically it was Winston Churchill going right back to the human rights. It was the Conservative Party that was behind this. And those rights, those human rights, are really important for all of us. Now, some of them constrain what we can do in ways that you and I might disagree on, OK? But that's fine. What are we going to do about all the other rights that are part of the Charter of Human Rights. How are we going to protect those?
That's the UN. This is 1951 UN.
Why can't we cherry pick the bits that we like and keep them?
Well, we can have a British Bill of Rights. There are many, many ways around this, but what we won't have is people saying, you can't deport me because my kid doesn't like...
But also, chicken nuggets. But why... The only thing I would want, though, is whichever party does this, whether this be Reform or Conservatives, is that it is laid out before the next election, because I don't want it to be Brexited, as in, then you get elected and then they say, right, OK, what should we put in it? And then there's 3 years of...
But the problem was Tony Blair's Human Rights Act made it, we had to pay attention to the ECHR. It wasn't an option, and other countries do ignore bits of it, but Tony Blair's, was it 2008? Human Rights Act, it says we have to abide by the ECHR rulings. So the whole thing just does not function. And surely that's the point of legislation. It has to be fit for the problems we face.
I would have a lot more time for that argument. If over the past 14 years, the Conservative Party in government had come forward with a UK Bill of Rights...
I think Dominic Raab did
and
start
had put it forward and said, these are the rights that we think are important. This is how we are going to protect our citizens overseas when they're abroad and make sure that they get their human rights respected, and had worked this out in a coherent way.
And they should have done, but that's no reason to not accept what could be a good idea now because of the 14 years of bad ideas.
I don't know why we didn't undo it.
Also, is Kemi perhaps as well aligning herself here for a potential conform?
I would love a conform, because to me, the best thing for the country, above party loyalty, the people I now agree with are in two political parties.
Yes, that's annoying.
That's the fact. That is really annoying.
That's aligning her with Reform. So if one of them becomes the bigger party,
but I think the country
doesn't get an overall majority.
I think you might admit it. I don't know, Jen, but you can't, on account of the fact of how many Lib Dems are still Tory party members. How can you become conform with?
It is worrying for someone like me on the right of the Tory party that everyone seems to be leaving from the right side. No bugger's gone from the other one.
She's trying to stop the exodus. The exodus of the people who are tempted to go to Reform, either through political will or through fear that they're going to lose their seat if they don't. And what she's trying to do is to give them a reason to stay.
But the problem is if people start leaving from the other side.
That Kemi Badenoch has worked out that whole panoply of legislation that we would need to put in place if she ever got rid of it.
But I still maintain as well that conform, though, if they were to do a coalition, does sound like a sanitary product. It does,
When we come back, we are going to be talking about the latest royal news. Bit of this. Prince William is going to... just spoke about reform, didn't we? Well, Prince William's going to reform the monarchy. Stay tuned.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You have the power then.
Yeah, as I and say, now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back to the latest edition. This is on the front of a couple of national newspapers for us on Saturday morning. Following a meeting with Prince William, actor Eugene Levy has said that he predicts massive changes when Prince William takes the throne.
Eugene, good morning. Your Royal Highness.
Nice to see you.
This is not what I was expecting.
I definitely came away with my own personal sense that there was going to be a change.
Creek.
There we go, yes. And just in case you were worried that we might have heard some accidental language there, he was on something called Schitt's Creek, right? So, that's not,
I wasn't swearing.
Barry, what did you say that William was missing from his scooter?
A helmet.
Oh, no, he lives in Montecito.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you know what? Harry. That was wasted without an audience. Wasted without a live studio audience. They'd have loved that.
Harry lives in Montecito.
They'd have loved it. Yeah, it's all right, Barry. We'll talk to you afterwards.
Explain it later.
So anyway, right. So what do we think that William's going to do to modernise the monarchy, or what's he going to do? Reform it? Oh.
Well, I don't know what else is left that could be done. But if they slimmed it down anymore, there would only be just sort of, two of them left. They could try and make it, I suppose, a little bit more cost efficient. I don't know what else they could do. I would strip titles from those that shame the family, because that's sort of their job title. So I would have got Andrew and Harry and Meghan perhaps get rid of their titles, but that's about it.
I think he always strikes me, and I obviously don't know him, but I think he seems quite traditional and quite dutiful, and Catherine, they never put a foot wrong. I think they take... I don't know if he's a massive Tory or not.
I'm putting but I think what we're dealing with here now is maybe a king that has got quivered slightly on the kind of more Lib Dem aspects of life, whereas I think William might be a Tory.
Oh, I don't know about that. I just think he'll be quite traditional. I think he will follow the late Queen's example.
But that's not changes.
That's why I disagree.
Can I just point out that our late Queen of blessed memory...
Yes.
She managed to stay out of politics for 70 years.
And I think he will be like
monarch,
that.
And I believe that he will as well.
I do as well.
But from what we hear... He doesn't like the flummery. Yeah. He doesn't like the dressing up. We may get a couple less ostrich feathers in the hats of the Order of the Garter. It may, in that sense, look less medieval. But I think he's got to be careful. Because, actually, why do tourists come to this country? They come to this country because they see images of these guys on horseback with gleaming breastplates and
he
horsehair
recognises this.
We love it. We do love it.
And actually, we do it better than any other place in the world.
Even like with Trump, the soft diplomacy is amazing.
You hear about King Charles. I'm going to be very careful about how I say it, but you do hear things that King Charles has his toothpaste squeezed onto the toothbrush, and I don't know if these things are true, but he seems quite high maintenance as a person. And I think William and Catherine have been very much less formal. But I do think he's a serving veteran. You know, he's flown helicopters. I really think he will maintain all of those fantastic traditions.
Yeah, what do you think? Look, there's a case for, there's a case for streamlining the monarchy, definitely. There's a case for, reducing the cost, whatever, fine. But yeah, like Barry, actually, I just hope they don't do it in the wrong way, where they think, actually, what people want is to, see me in corduroys and not a suit. And it's like, no.
I want the full regalia. I want the full regalia at big state event. It's what the gays have. Other people have FA Cup finals. The gays only have the shiny buttons and all of that. Thank you, and the feathers. And all of that.
The coronation was a high camp ceremony.
Why do you think the gays want to be in the Church of England? Because of the dresses.
Right.
Oh, but Catholicism has the edge.
Yeah, it does.
It's better. More smells, more bells.
Catholicism, but yes.
William also has a real affinity with Africa. He spent time there, and he really cares about conservation.
Yes.
And I don't know whether he inherited that from his dad or his granddad and WWF, but actually, I think it's brilliant that we will have a monarch who really has understood Africa and the needs of conservation on that continent.
Yeah, look, I'm certainly, by the way, I know we kind of joked a little bit about the current monarch there. I'm obviously not wishing that King Charles goes anytime soon at all, simply saying that I do have quite high hopes for Prince William, and I think it gives us hope for the future as well of the country. So there we go.
Which is the whole point, succession.
Which is the whole point.
Thank you. You're actually pushing exactly what it's all about.
He's
looking
not
ahead.
forgiving Harry as much as his father.
Well, good.
Potentially.
You know what? I think they should just have a fight and tell about it. Imagine that
they did in the kitchen.
Barry shaking his head. Fair enough. All right, look, thank you very much, everyone. So we are out of time. Take care, everybody. Ben's next.
Patrick, viewers, listeners, good evening to you. Welcome to the Late Show Live, kicking off in just a few seconds. Big question tonight. Does Keir Starmer have an issue with identifying the biggest national security threat to the UK, radical Islam? Because I've not heard the man utter that word since taking power in July last year, despite decades of attacks. Also tonight, FBI Director Kash Patel has fired an FBI trainee for having a LGBT flag on his desk. A breach of free speech or good old-fashioned common sense? See you after the weather.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Good evening, welcome to The Late Show Live on what is a potentially momentous day for the history of the Middle East. We're going live to the White House, where President Donald Trump is speaking imminently next. Breaking on The Late Show Live tonight.
In introducing our Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, and before I do, please, we know how we all feel.
Shame on you, Deputy Prime Minister. That was the message from furious locals greeting David Lammy after yesterday's deadly attack on a synagogue. Tonight, we learn the terrorist was arrested and on bail for alleged rape, with shocking new claims emerging too about his father's support for Hamas. Also breaking tonight.
The promise of a new Middle East is so clearly within our reach. This is the closest we've ever come to real peace, not fake peace, not political.
Yes, fingers crossed. Breaking tonight. Hopefully peace in the Middle East. Donald Trump promised it. Now it looks like the president has delivered it. Hamas have tonight accepted his terms and said they'll release hostages dead or alive. Plus,
Love you. Thank you. Love you too. Thank you so much. I will. Thank you so much.
also breaking tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to, get this, 4 years in prison. We'll get live reaction on the case that's rocked showbiz in America for the last couple of years. We'll also be diving headfirst into the stories from tomorrow's newspapers, hours before they even hit the shelves. And of course, we're live in Washington, D.C., just yards from the White House, bringing you the stories America's talking about and that matter to you back home in Blighty, including this one.
You can tell me my time's over.
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, we've seen how fiery he can be, but now FBI boss Kash Patel reportedly has sacked an agent, a trainee, for flying a gay pride flag on his desk in the office. And in other news tonight,
her name was Kitty, made her money being pretty and witty. They gave her the keys to this city.